again, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. Adam Burke joined here. I'm Gary Schick, National Partner Manager over with Quest. This is our quarterly partner forum. It is interactive. We appreciate the great feedback we get, the contributions from all of our team up there. We're really appreciative of the opportunity to connect with everyone. It's been a crazy busy travel month for those of you in the channel. We've caught a lot of them in the last few weeks, and may have seen some of you out and about in the field there. So thank you so very much for being here. Again, I'm Gary Schick, joined by Adam Burke, our VP of Sales and Channels. We are going to be having our call today. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. The session is being recorded. So, if you do have questions or comments or whatnot, it is interactive. Please know that this will be available afterwards up on our Quest Partner Portal. For those of you who missed it, or if you want to share it with anyone, that will be there. It is an interactive forum, so you are not muted. If you have friends and family in the background or working from home, or if you have a question, please feel free to chime in. We don't mean to monopolize the conversation here. You are welcome to chime in with a question if we miss something or it's confusing. Please feel free to get with us. And again, we have an e-gift card for those of you who are hanging in there at the end with us. We appreciate your joining us again. Agenda-wise today, what's trending at Quest? We have a couple of new service offerings. Bulk of the meeting today is going to be covered by Adam Burke, who's our VP of Sales and Channels. We've had a recent sales boot camp series that people have asked more about to get into some of the services and why Quest and whatnot. Adam's going to go through and skim through some of the slides. From that, that'll be the first two sessions that we've had are listed there, the selling integrated services and cybersecurity. We'll tie in some recent wins and have some Q&A and then wrap up from there. Thank you for those of you who did submit some questions. Here's a sample list of what's up there. We do look at these. I'll catch these back at the end of the session as well. So we'll bring these back up. If your question's not on here, please chime in at the Q&A session at the end of this. But we do appreciate these, and these are things that we'll look to cover during the session today for sure. I always want to start off with a great big thank you to everyone here. We've been in the channel since 2009. We're very fortunate getting through the pandemic and all the different pieces here to be able to continue to grow. Technology is a great segment to be in. We're up almost 150% over the same period last year. We do quite a bit of our partner business through the TSBs. We do have a couple of national VARs who we also consider partners as well. They're out there and they need maybe some services or whatnot on the other side of their product or their solutions that they have. We do quite a bit, some of that there, and then some public sector business as well. We've got some contracts there. We're pretty well spread across the different segments that we have. We were fortunate to be recognized by Telarus recently as the top cloud and service provider here for 2022. One of our major TSB partners that we have. There's obviously quite a few of them out there. Brian Purdue, one of our national channel managers, joined Quest about 6-8 months ago. He was the top channel manager over there. I want to thank Brian for that. A lot of you probably know Brian. And again, we're appreciative of Telarus. We also received some awards from the Channel Vision. They are going to be having an event in Arizona later this month. It's already November. We've got a booth down there. It's kind of another, not competitive, but a little different or similar to what you might see from channel partners at that show up there. It's a great award, and they've been very good in terms of helping promote things. They're doing our boot camp series, and we've got a booth down there. So for those of you going to be in that area, we appreciate stopping on by or letting us know of questions on that side. Adam's going to talk a lot more about this. For those of you new to Quest, I'll just skim it real quickly. We were founded in 1982, been around for a while. A real simple go-to-market strategy of how can we help. So our customers kind of tell us what they're looking for rather than me going to market with, here's my widget or my box or my service that I have, and this is all I do. Our strategy has been to really help have the customers tell us what they need for help, and that's taken us through all the solutions that you see here on the left, plus many more. We have literally over 1,000 managed services right now, or different ways to bundle things and whatnot. The key here, I think, is we've had a partner growth strategy since 2009. Significant part of our business is through our virtual sales force. That would be all of you. I'm not going out and hiring a bunch of people or directs and whatnot in terms of how I'm going to market. We significantly recognize the value that our partners bring with the relationships, their customers, and kind of collectively we all kind of work together there to be able to move ahead. So Adam will spend some more time on that moving ahead. And with that, I know, Adam, we got a lot of content here today. You said you had your track shoes on and lots of great stuff going. So I will pass it over to you, Mr. Burke. I will go in the background, and thank you, everyone, for being here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Gary. And to reiterate what Gary says, our growth strategy is the channel, is partners, and to echo a little bit of what Gary was commenting on our growth, we're looking to see a double in the channel this year, closing up the fourth quarter, and couldn't have done that without everyone on the call and everyone participating. So very much thank you, and we're excited to see what happens to close out 2023 and into 2024. I put this together with our marketing team and some of our organization within Quest based on our customer and our customers, our partners, feedback around training. So just want to make sure everyone knows we put together a boot camp series on all the different areas that Quest engages in across the IT stack. We have one coming up next week that's focusing on infrastructure services, right? So structured cabling, wireless deployments, boring and trenching, long-range wireless shots, access control, all that kind of good stuff. But over the last 2 years, we've been doing capability reviews, and we had some partners reach out to us and say, "Hey, you guys should just do some training events." So we are putting these together. These are in the resources tab on the Quest partner portal. So if you want to check out any previous boot camps, it's a 6-part series. We're going to be knocking out number 3 next week. So if you can join, please register and join. If you want to check out previous training sessions, please hop on the Quest partner portal and check that out. We're building that content. We're listening to you guys, letting us know what helps you get into new opportunities, get into new engagements. So we're putting that content together for you. I'm excited about that bootcamp series. And then any feedback, always welcome from you guys. We're building this program with you and for you. So any feedback is always welcome. One of our first topics that we want to touch on a little bit today is our complex IT sales and really leveraging what we call our building blocks, right? So there are complex engagements all over the market right now. People are buying more SaaS applications. They're trying to migrate on-prem to cloud. They're trying to secure their environment. And where do you really start? There's really no way to take down the entire opportunity all at once. We've found the way for us to be successful and the way for our partners to be successful is to kind of take incremental building blocks and kind of eat the elephant one bite at a time. That gives us a lot of flexibility. It's how we grow with our partners and with our customers, and it's been a very successful approach. A lot of the boot camps that we do, we kind of put on these kind of key takeaways. And one of the best key takeaways that we've had with our partners and with our customers is having that outcome-based conversation. The more partner forums we do, the more this feels kind of like a sales call, like a sales, a status call, and just want to let you guys know what's working for us. Try to get out, if you can, of the marketing buzzword conversation. Is it an MSP? Is it an MSSP? Is it a VAR? Is it a resale? Is it a SASE solution? Is it a SD-WAN solution? All those buzzwords are fantastic and they're great entry points. But once you get in that conversation with a client, we've found it's much more successful to actually discuss what they're trying to do as opposed to trying to fit a marketing buzzword over their pain. I don't know if that nuance makes sense, but you don't necessarily need to take an MSSP or a managed security conversation to address a security need. What are they trying to do? You don't have to have it answered beforehand. You can take a building block approach. The reason we see a challenge in the market in understanding organizations kind of why is a lot of the vendors out there, not disparaging any of those brands or any of those people that are up there. They got to make their quarterly numbers. They got to move their product. They got to ship boxes. They got to ship SKUs. We get it. but they try to kind of evangelize a do-it-yourself model. And Quest, we do a lot in the middle market. You guys know us. We work with the middle market organizations. We work with some SMB, and we do definitely execute at the enterprise. But a lot of our engagement is in the middle market, and the vendor community out there is constantly kind of evangelizing this idea that it's easy, you can do it yourself. Of course, you can do this, no problem. Kind of the Home Depot shopping of IT support. That's kind of the way it's pitched. Unfortunately, what we're seeing is that about 70% of technology projects fail to meet at least 50% or at least meet their stated objectives. I think more and more stats are kind of flowing around the TSB community right now about 70 to 80% of digital transformation initiatives failing. This is kind of the same statistic said a different way. Do it yourself doesn't work with complex IT sales. You need someone who's been there before. You need someone who knows how to remodel that kitchen. Yeah, could you do it as a weekend warrior and go to Home Depot and buy all the parts and pieces yourself and do it? Sure, you can. But when organizations are operating their businesses, when they're doing this for the first time, really bringing in a third party who can help have that outcome conversation is critical. So where does Quest differentiate? Where can we help? A lot of you know us in these different building blocks. A lot of you have used us in these different building blocks. We started out, like Gary mentioned, in the product space. We've been reselling hardware and software for a very long time, and we know which products work and which ones are still maybe on the roadmap. And that over the last 40 years has helped us execute and build out our professional services, our engineering bench and team, and our managed services team, right? So cybersecurity and disaster recovery, these are two building blocks, two keystones that have to work. You cannot fake it with cybersecurity, right? You're gonna get breached. One of the reasons we're seeing a lot of incident response, incident containment initiatives happen is because organizations maybe are faking their capabilities of what they can actually do. And that there's no hiding in cybersecurity. Similarly, there's no hiding in disaster recovery. When systems go down, you have to know how to recover. You have to know how to rebuild that environment. So we've built out this practice based on understanding what works and then growing with our customers and delivering across all these different keystones, from infrastructure services to managing what they have deployed, regardless if we're supplying it or they are, to actually developing the applications that they're leveraging in their business. So one of the best business conversations you can have with an organization, I see a couple partners on here that we were just in an application conversation with yesterday. What's key to that business? What are they trying to achieve with that application? And then how can we come in and support, manage, and maintain that infrastructure? It's no different than a cybersecurity engagement. It's no different than disaster recovery. Application development is just managing that business outcome for that organization. So having these conversations really starts with, taking small pieces of what they're trying to achieve and putting those together in a building block standpoint. I talk to a lot of partners and they think that customization or building blocks can sometimes be more expensive, right? You're doing custom work, only scalability is cost effective. I've heard all these types of things. Simply not true. We've been doing this for a very long time. We know how to acquire, we know how to provide, and we know how to meet the objectives of clients based on their budgets and build out a scope of work based on what they can afford. So that helps with reliability, helps with secure, helps with customization. And then one of the biggest things for the accounting and the bean counters out there is simplified billing. Get multiple product offerings under one bill. So I love our example we used in the past, managed Wi-Fi or managed firewall services deployed across hundreds of sites. Sometimes people don't realize that you got to manage the logistics of shipping the hardware. You got to make sure that the DMARC is extended to those transfer points for those firewalls. You got to make sure the cabling's in place. Then you got to make sure you have the professional services and the engineering to put those firewalls in place, and then the managed services to support them day two. That can be anywhere between 2 to 5 vendors if you look at all those different building blocks. Quest puts it all under one SLA, delivers a consistent service to your client, monthly reoccurring, annual or quarterly billing, however they kind of want to see it. And then kind of going into our other boot camp summary here. we went into a much greater detail. This is a much longer boot camp around cybersecurity, but we're seeing organizations again. A lot of people are selling on fear. We don't necessarily agree with that. I would stay in touch with your clients and look for trouble. Quest is averaging, and thank you very much to our partner community, we're averaging about 3 IRs, new some type of incident coming from our partners and from your clients every week, where there's some type of a challenge, some type of an emergency, something needs to happen now. So ir@questsys.com. Stay in touch with your clients. It's very simple from a security perspective. If you need help, when you need help, we have someone who can help you. ir@questsys.com, or pick up the phone and call anyone on the partner team. But critical, and what we covered a lot in our boot camp around cybersecurity, is that staying in touch and just starting that conversation and where to really start. Again, the buzzwords: SASE, zero trust, multi-factor, XDR, MDR, EPAS. And this might be counter to what other people are saying in the market. So what? That doesn't matter. Those are just buzzwords. Those are just things. Artificial intelligence. I know every single person here has heard artificial intelligence a million times. Large language models. All of that is the same game, repackaged in a different way to basically kind of spark new activity. I love it. Marketing is great. But what is the business trying to achieve? More often than not, we sometimes get into opportunities and like, hey, are you an MSP or an MSSP? Are you do you do multi-factor authentication, or do you have an XDR or MDR practice? I've given this example a million times. One of the worst movies ever made, Armageddon. Russian cosmonaut, during they're trying to save the world, he freaks out. He goes to Russian components, American components. They're all made in Taiwan. I know we're not probably legally allowed to say Taiwan anymore, but these things are just building blocks to help organizations achieve business objectives. So don't get too spun up in the wordage and the language and the marketing. Really focus on having that business conversation with your clients. And we have a lot of content on our partner forum and on our partner website right here, partner portal at questsys.com. If you use this link, we'll send this out after the forum today. Open-ended conversations, starting the dialogue. Have you done a business impact analysis? How are you monitoring your applications? A lot of organizations don't know their applications, how they're connecting, right? So are you doing, your API integration? Are you doing security reviews of those integration points? Connecting your Microsoft Dynamics or connecting your Salesforce instance to your customer database. How are you auditing those APIs? How are you auditing that connection? There's a lot of different security layers, a lot of different ways people need help. Multi-factor authentication, basically confirming your people are who they say they are when they're trying to touch your data. That's one of the biggest areas people are dealing with from a cyber insurance standpoint. MFA it's like table stakes now for everyone trying to get cyber insurance. So we're seeing, I'm sure you guys are as trusted advisors and consultants out there, hearing a lot of people struggling with MFA and enforcing it across all their applications, not just their Microsoft environment or not just their Salesforce environment, but everything. Really, that's MFA or dual factor authentication. Again, those are just marketing words. Really, what it is what are your policies around providing access to your users who want to touch your applications or want to have access to your data. It's not. You can way overcomplicate it with things like zero trust or MFA or all those different types of federation conversations. Don't go there. Go to the how are you securing your data? How are you confirming people are who they say they are? So I wanted to promote something with you guys today. This is fresh off the press. We are November 1st. I can't believe it's already November, but we are offering a promotion to our channel partners from a cyber risk monitoring and management standpoint. This is a consistent scan. So a lot of people on the call that I've talked to, we talk about penetration tests, right? We talk about vulnerability scans, penetration tests, business impact analysis, all that good stuff. Those are point in time assessments, right? That's an assessment at a given point in time. What we found in addition to that you need to have is a consistent scan, is a consistent view, the same way you're monitoring if your firewall's up, the same way we help people monitor if their wireless environment's up. You want to consistently monitor what your environment is portraying to the outside world. So we provide a monitoring and alerting platform that basically monitors the reputation of your clients on an ongoing basis and kind of shows how they're seen from the outside world, right? So this is a risk management and monitoring service, and we want to provide this platform for you and your customers for a 90-day basically trial environment that they can then convert to a 12-month agreement when they like it. So it's a very simple onboarding. It's a domain-based targeting risk tool that we use. It looks at different safeguards, looks at their privacy, gives them a stack ranking on the resiliency and the reputation, and this is based on their peers in their same industry, and it gives them kind of a holistic snapshot of what they're portraying to the outside world. So think of it like a credit score for their security environment, and this is how hackers are looking at their environment. So we're providing, again, a 90-day no-charge POC for any clients. This also includes, we have, for those of you who've taken advantage of it, we've paid out a little over $10,000 in the last quarter for our new logo spiff, right? So every new logo that comes to Quest, in addition to the normal residual payments that go through, our TSDs and everything like that, we're adding an additional $500 directly to a Visa gift card, so that this 90-day POC also goes on to that. This is an awesome starting point from a cybersecurity standpoint. This provides areas where they maybe need some help. I see this giant red one right here. If I was a salesperson, and I am, I see patch management is at 50% efficacy for this environment, right? So they have about 50% of their devices are not patched with their current patches. This is an opportunity to go in there and help that organization with a true up or with a patch management as a service type of a support, right? So these SSL certs and strengths, this is a good way to audit their applications, their web presence, things like that. This gives a good snapshot of what do they maybe need help with. And again, 90-day, no charge POC, and we give $500 when they convert to a contract. So awesome way to start the conversation there. Definitely would love to have some questions about that maybe at the end, if there are any questions regarding that offering. But really excited about that one. Gives a great snapshot. Another area that we're seeing a great conversation starter is the cybersecurity checkup program, right? As I mentioned earlier, we run an incident response, incident containment service. And this is an emergency service where we get engineers and support on the phone within 15 minutes. And where Quest is different in that spot, just to kind of go down the IR conversation for a minute. There are a lot of organizations out there that have incident response. There are a lot of organizations out there who have cybersecurity insurance, who, when they launch an incident, they say, hey, we've got a breach, we need help. They get IR on the phone with them. A lot of those IR services, those incident response services that the cybersecurity folks are bringing in, those are, think of it like a police officer showing up to a car accident to take the notes and basically just determine who is at fault for the accident. They're not necessarily rebuilding the car to get that car back on the road. Quest is. So Quest Incident Response helps recover and remediate the security breach. Oftentimes, and talk to your customers about this, help them read their service level agreements that they're getting from their XDR, MDR, IR support organizations. Who's actually helping rebuild the environment or restabilize or get them back to business operation, not just coming in and taking a look at the logs. That's a critical difference in the IR conversation. Businesses need to get back operational. Cybersecurity insurance people want to see the logs, they want to see the documentation, they want to see how the breach happened to see if it was a covered event. They got nailed in 2021, in 2022 with payments, and they're really tightening those up. So just food for thought, a good way to start a conversation with your customer, have that dialogue around who's coming in to rebuild the environment as opposed to coming in to audit the logs and see who is at fault. Critical differentiator there. A lot of IR firms are kind of just focusing on the latter part there. And along those lines, I mentioned we have about 2 to 3 incidents coming in, from net new organizations every week. These are the areas where we're seeing folks get into trouble. And so we put together a checkup program similar to the risk monitoring and management program. This is not impactful at all to the organization. They don't even know this is happening. This is just scanning their external environment. They wouldn't even know that we're taking a look at their environment. Same with the cybersecurity checkups, very limited impact. A penetration test, a business impact analysis, those are they're involved. It takes customer time. It's a decision for them to invest in that. Cybersecurity checkups, they start at $750 per. I think we bundle all 7 together for $4,500. So on the Quest partner portal, this full PDF is bundled there with all the descriptions for you if you want to take a look at it. But these are the areas where there's trouble. Patch management's a huge one. Endpoint protection, some people are calling this, MDR, things like that. But basically, how is their AV configured? Was on a call with the partner about 2 weeks ago. Large city, they had about 250 endpoints under management. They couldn't figure out why they weren't getting any alerts or they weren't getting any notifications. It had been up for about a year. We did a checkup for them. This was not an endpoint protection customer for Quest. We were not involved in the initial sale or the initial implementation. They brought us in after the fact, after about a year. They had a little over 70% of their environment was still in observation mode only. They were not in blocking. They were not in alerting. Everything, it was basically, if you're familiar with like an any configuration on a firewall, they basically had their endpoints, their monitoring software was just in observation mode. It wasn't blocking, it wasn't alerting. It was just sitting there watching the bad guys go by. So important to do. Sometimes people just make mistakes. People are people. Everyone needs a checkup. So endpoint protection, confirming backups. This is the VPN, MFA, single sign-on. This is the conversation on how are your people touching your applications. So we do a checkup where we basically look at those configurations, take a quick look at the policies, how are you enforcing those policies, and then we provide a executive summary with plain English, plain language. Here's how you can improve your situation. Here's what here's what's going well. Here's some areas you can improve. Everyone needs a checkup. We recommend organizations do this quarterly. But again, everyone kind of has their own pace and their own different ways to do it. But these are fantastic. I mean, $750, $775, or $4,500 for all 7. Not a huge investment for any organization that's trying to secure their data. And then our cyber defense suite, this goes right along with, for those of you who have worked with us for years, we used to kind of have the bundled thought where, hey, we're going to do 4 or 5 of these. But what we found, and what you've probably found when trying to do this for organizations, I know there's firms out there that kind of bundle a couple of these things together and then sell it for a cost per user. All of these are cost per user, but we use them as individual building blocks, right? So we found that, and I think another firm's doing this right now, we did about 4 years ago, a lot of organizations already had 1 or 2 of the 4 bundle that we put together, so they didn't want to kind of pick up the whole thing. So what we've done is we've customized them. We say, hey, you pick the parts and pieces you need. If you need endpoint, if you need email security, if you just need a quarterly vulnerability scan, or you just need some help with how your people are accessing your data, or how you're basically monitoring people are who they say they are, we build it incrementally for them. So it's not a take it all or leave it. This is incremental type of a bundling program for folks. So a lot more questions there, I'm sure, but anything we can do to help in the cyber defense area, love to. So again, this is a partner forum, and definitely want to get some Q&A here in a minute. And if you got any questions, please put them in the chat, and Justin and Gary and I can run right through them. But why organizations are partnering with Quest, and one of the things that I'm pretty proud of is about 60% of the commissions that we're paying from a TSB master agent standpoint are the second and third add-on opportunities after we get engaged in the initial transaction. And why that's important is because we have we understand the registration of the opportunity, you bring it in. It's a net new organization to Quest. We really value that partner of record. And then we have a dedicated team built out to helping you grow that, either as a part of your direct involvement or just, hey, we're going to drip out some marketing. We're going to send you every week. If you're on the quick Quest updates or you're on the weekly messaging, we send out our partner updates to you guys, everything that we're messaging out to the clients, and our email templates if you need them, and you want to put a marketing campaign around that. We are very serious about helping to grow this business for you, with you, at your customers. So in 2023, it looks like we're coming in at 62% of all commissions are paid on Quest generated follow-on opportunities for our partners of record as they're bringing in net new clients. So pretty excited about that. And I think that's been well received across the channel for us. So this is Gary and I were working on a way to, how do we tell this story with our partners? How do we communicate? There's the transaction, and this transaction can be the new hotness, whatever it is. I know I was a little dismissive about AI, and AI is gonna change the world. Sure, and it's gonna completely change everything. Great. And everyone wants to talk about AI. If you follow Corporate Bro, he did a great sales kickoff impersonation where he just walked on the stage, said AI, everyone clapped, and he walked off. Awesome. This is the transaction, right? Everyone talks about the new widget, the new cool thing, the thing that's gonna basically, hey, this is gonna change the world and brew some coffee for us at the time. That's the transaction. That's the one. That's the quick hit, right? But where I think Quest can help your organization grow is all of the opportunity that lies underneath that transaction. Why are they doing that? Why are they leveraging that new CRM? Why are they building out that new security practice? What do they need help with? These are all the other opportunities that are underneath that new purchase, that new transaction, that new engagement. It could be migration to the cloud services. It could be repatriation back away from the cloud. It can be a security product. It could be SIM. It could be just I got a new call center application. I got to migrate from my Avaya platform to RingCentral. Thousands of things out there. That's the transaction. But why partners are leveraging Quest is the opportunity for that growth within that account, right? We can help grow that organization from a single transaction. One of my favorite stories in the channel, a partner, brand new, I think he's about 25, 26 years old, hung up a shingle of his own agency through one of the TSDs. He brought us in for a transaction around a SQL assessment. Organization had a Microsoft SQL database that was having trouble, having challenges with some queries and getting data to their application. He brought us in to do a SQL assessment, and then we started kind of peeling back the onion a little bit. We've booked over $3.6 million in application development with that organization, helping them to build, modernize, and update their loan software. And that started out with a very simple transaction. And that transaction, I'm not belittling the engagement. That engagement is critical, but don't get lost in what that client's talking about at that point in time. That's the entry point. That's where you start. The meat of it is underneath that transaction, right? And I love AI. I love the conversations around automation. I love the conversation around security. I love ask Gary or anyone on the partner team. I love buzzwords more than, just as much as the next guy. But the reason I love them is because they get you into that conversation, and then you can basically expand the opportunity. The transaction, great, but it's only great because it's the starting point for a much, much larger, longer business conversation. So that's a huge opportunity, I believe, for the channel. Any of our partners, if you ever want to talk about all the different incremental things that we can do to help you grow your business, that's the bootcamp series, again, that we're doing. We're breaking down every single aspect of our operation into those different building blocks and kind of walking through how to do those. Gary, we went to all the different TSD. Everyone's kind of doing their national events these days, and we walked around. And Gary, you can maybe talk a little bit about this, but
Yeah.
we walk around and you see all these things, and you guys as partners and folks out there, everyone's kind of saying the same thing. And Gary, maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about this one.
Yeah, it's this was spurned from we went down to Channel Connect down in Orlando and just wandering around looking at all the different booths at the event there. There were, oh gosh, well over 100 suppliers there. Many of them had the same bullet points that we had on our deck, and I'm walking around saying, man, these look awfully similar. And one of the things that came out is, hey, what's your superpower, right? That's one of the TSP's mottos about, well, hey, why are you different? Tell us where you're there. And it's Adam and I brainstormed about this a little bit just to chat about this. We don't have a monopoly on the great technologies out there, or we don't have a monopoly on anything. There's a lot of great products. It's really the people who are the difference. Being around since 1982, I think, is a testament to the customers that engage and continue to engage Quest for a very, very long time. If you look at the surveys that we send out, yeah, we did a great job in technology-wise, but always among the highest-rated things are we return phone calls, we do what we say we're going to do. When it screws up, it's technology. It does. We don't run away. We deal with the situation right there, and we really, really, really try to listen and understand what the customer's outcomes are, and those outcomes that work for all parties. I really want to stress that all parties piece in the channel here. Yes, you can get into the customers who want to get to the lowest price and 3 bids and all those other pieces there. We want to have this work for the customer and for you, the partner, and for Quest. So when I say all parties, hey, we're all able to succeed and make money in this process right here. Sometimes that could mean that we're not always the least expensive. We're looking to find that sweet spot where it's a good fit for everyone involved, including you, the partners, and growing that out. So it's hard to put that on our, I know Darcy, our VP of Marketing, is on the call here. It's hard to call that out on a slide. Maybe we just put the big S logo up there next time and people say, what the heck? So we'll see where we go. But anyway, Adam, that's my thought on that. But, appreciate the opportunity to chat about the superpower.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, and it's tough to quantify, but it is really just focused on outcomes and understanding, where organizations are trying to go. We don't have a monopoly on technology. We don't pretend to. We do like to kind of take the beans and bullets approach of what are you trying to do? Can we go back and put something together to help you achieve it? So it's not complicated, but that doesn't mean it's easy also. So, and along the whole, it's not complicated. I wanted to, again, highlight the transaction here versus the opportunity concept. So got the eye chart out, thought this was a good way to differentiate. So the transaction here is maybe, coming in for a SIM, an XDR, or a security platform. Everything else within here is the opportunity. The transaction maybe is, hey, we want to have a conversation around endpoint. We want to have a conversation around call center. We want to have a conversation around security operations or monitoring services. And that's the little nugget right here. Everything else around here is the opportunity that you have the ability, when you're working with Quest, to help deliver on. Everything from the firewall, through the people, through the tiering and triage, through the NOC, SOC, the incident management, customizing dashboards for application development, all of this stack, everything within the security workflow is an opportunity for you to help execute for your customer. So that you can have the conversation, that tip of the iceberg around the XDR, the SIEM, the platform, the new hotness out there that's gonna save the world. That's here. And this is where a lot of the OEMs, manufacturers, and vendors want you to spend your life. That's great, and we can move SKUs like anybody else. But the delivery, the money, the support, the ongoing engagement, the actually understanding what your partners and your customers are trying to do is all this supported stuff around here. So I apologize for the eye chart. Thought this was another way to basically talk about all the additional opportunities you have to grow with when you're engaging Quest. We can absolutely execute here, but there's a ton more to do. So wanted to give a quick success story. People like stories. This was a fun one. This came from a VAR partner of ours, regional group. Awesome group. They had a Fortune 500 account that had about 200 locations globally that needed firewall and SD-WAN. They were going to purchase a new platform, and they decided through kind of a couple conversations with Quest and our organization that, hey, it takes a lot of logistics to get all those firewalls and those endpoints to those 200 global sites. And then also we got to deploy them, right? We don't have necessarily all the DMARCs and all the carrier solutions baked out to get connectivity to those SD-WAN boxes and those firewalls. So we could use some help with that. So it moved from a multi-million-dollar awesome firewall purchase that the VAR was going to handle, and we were going to come in and just do the managed services day two. To, hey, Quest, can you acquire the firewall, acquire the SD-WAN software solution, help with the logistics and the deployment, help with the 24/7 support day two, and basically transition the entire deal to as a service. We've been delivering across 200 locations, both in the US and internationally. It's moved from a one-time transaction to a 3-year term. And we've really helped them basically consolidate the acquisition, the logistics and the deployment, the professional services turn up, and the day two managed services and support. But here's where it gets really fun. The organization has their own security operations. They have their own security team. It's a Fortune 500 account, right? They have security built out. So our team basically provided the platform as a service, and we documented our roles and responsibilities for what we were going to maintain, and then how we escalate and integrate back with their SOC team and their analysts. So you can't do that with a one and done scalable baked in solution. The only way we got there was starting out with that transaction. They needed help with managed services day two. That was the transaction that we started with. That was the tip of the iceberg. Now, as we got involved and built trust and built, built out the brand as far as how Quest can help, that iceberg, we started chipping away at it, and it moved from a $30,000 MRC to well over $350,000, $400,000 MRC engagement. Fantastic engagement. Now, you don't get there by pitching the firewall as a service or the SD-WAN as a service necessarily. If you got one, and anyone on this phone call's got one, love to talk to you. But that's not necessarily how they start. They start with that transaction. So again, not disparaging the transaction. That's where you start. That's fantastic. But then how you chip away at it, that's how you build out these awesome types of engagements here. So again, we definitely value, the new logos. We want to make sure we're paying you guys for that and incentivizing it. So every new logo, we're paying $500 in addition to all the initial comp and everything else that goes through. So we got this. We've already paid out a little over $10,000 in the last quarter for this. So it's been going really well. We send out a digital Visa card and then a formal one as well. We have a Quest Champions, Quest Champions Club that we got a couple folks knocking on the door for their third new logo this quarter. So pretty excited about that. And then we got our President's Club as well. For fifth new logo, got a couple partners in there as well. So this is great. This is growing. Want to recognize some great opportunities there. And again, the new logo and the growth for that upside. That's what we're really excited about. We had some questions at the beginning. Got some cyber challenges and some Q&A. Want to open it up for anyone on the call. Any questions or anything that top of mind that anyone want to make sure this is interactive and available? These were some of the questions that came in, so we can certainly go through some of these. If no one has anything live they want to share, or Justin, if we had anything in the chat, want to open up the forum.
Yeah, Adam, Justin here. We did have a question from Chuck regarding if the checkups should precede the free cyber risk or vice versa.
No, that's a great question. It really kind of depends on what the client's looking for help with. The checkups are they're tactical at the specific layer, right? So it's either we're looking specifically at their email security configuration, their endpoints, how are their backups configured. Those are very tactical, scheduled. There's a specific statement of work associated with each one of them. So we send that over and, hey, this is what we're going to do, and here's the findings. Those are very tactical in nature. The 90-day proof of concept for the risk management or the risk monitoring, that's more of a ongoing, right? So the checkups are a point in time. The risk monitoring is more of an ongoing notification, right? So I think you could really go either way on that one. I like the risk monitoring one because things can change over a 90-day period, right? So they can run a patch, they can run an update, or a patch can be released from one of their providers, and they can see how their score will adjust. So like everyone saw that 0-day threat that came out from Cisco 2 weeks ago. That was basically, hey, turn off that monitoring platform until this patch comes out. So it was one of their single dashboard kind of vulnerabilities where all of the endpoints were reporting to a dashboard. Basically, the fix at the 0-day was, hey, turn that feature off until we get it fixed. The monitoring platform, the risk management, would see who has that platform on and who's still utilizing that with that known vulnerability out there. So that's an evolving service, whereas the checkups are a point in time, and that's why we recommend going through a checkup process or at least using a third party once a quarter. It's an ongoing thing. There's no set it and forget it kind of checkup model there. So.
And Adam, maybe if I could chime in there too, I think you tapped on this really well on the iceberg slide. One of the drawbacks to the services that we're recommending, hey, it's a free service. Hey, it's $700 for this or that. There's not a ton of commission right there. So we really, that's not the opportunity that we see. One of the things we hear constantly is, how do I get in the security conversation, or how do I open this door? We're very, very engaged in what we call conversations, or these very low cost, barrier to entry, high value engagements deliver significant, under the waterline opportunity for us. So it's kind of a pivot in mentality. You can look at it about, hey, how much commission am I going to make on whatever XYZ is? That's one thought, and there is money in that transaction. You can capture both with some of the things we're talking about. So that checkup could drive the MDR conversation, or could drive the SIM conversation, or could drive any conversation coming out of that. It taps on a bunch of the questions here on this list, and would, for those people who are challenged in getting those conversations going, we know this works, not for the one-time commission, but for the ongoing piece. So just food for thought there.
No, that's great, Gary. That's great. And I was, reading through some of these questions. So, not knowing, one of the things that came here is not knowing the right questions to ask. again, I want to make sure you guys know we have some content on the partner on the partner website, top questions, and then also just some open-ended questions and some training around those different areas for how to get engaged. There's no real silver bullet, but really being curious. If you're in the meeting with them, you have the right to ask those questions. And we found that those conversation starters around just some of those challenges around patching, around compliance, around, hey, all of our customers have customers, right? They all have, what are they getting back from their customers? One of the main things that this risk management service does is provide visibility to your clients on what their potential customers and their potential partners can see them from the external view, right? Maybe you don't know that there's a vulnerability. A lot of people are doing due diligence. So our customers, everyone, when I say our customers on this call, their clients, whether it's the government or other service providers or other partners in their industry, they're looking at them from the outside. They're looking at their security posture. They're saying, hey, is this someone I can depend on? Is this someone I could do business with? Everyone's kind of evaluating each other from a security posture standpoint, and that vulnerability and that risk management service. Again, they're offering for 90-day POC through the end of the year to kick it off. That's where that can really help people with that visibility. So.
Yeah, I had a good question come in that I think is relevant to a philosophy. I don't know if you're up in the chat window there, but can Adam divulge the underlying technology or vendors of the cyber risk management offer? What's required of the customer to implement with Quest? That's a question we hear quite often, and thank you for, I see you brought that. Thank you for bringing that question up. Adam, maybe you can touch on that. It's a pretty common question we get.
Yeah, so we just need their domain, and then we can figure out everything else from there. And kind of it's pretty easy setup evaluation from a domains perspective. Just their domain, and then we don't really even need their edge IP targets or anything like that. We can source that out and find it. There's some good automation in there, AI. That can help determine a lot of where their edge points are. And then regarding the underlying technology, definitely can chat with you guys around different technologies that we use on the back end. Typically, we don't like to kind of throw that out there because, like we mentioned, 80% of the market is do-it-yourself. Let's go to Home Depot and see if I can buy the stuff myself. So we're happy to help as a service provider. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's a different conversation. That product conversation is a transaction conversation. We are a VAR. We can help with that. In our view, that significantly limits the visibility to the iceberg below the surface. And we're not locked into any technology there. But one of the things that's very, very important about Quest is, hey, there's lots of flavors of the sausage. Some people like fennel, some people like pork, some people like whatever. I'm not locked into a technology. I'm always trying to get in. Hey, what outcome are you looking to get into? If they're looking to buy something, we'll get in that conversation. We'll do a discovery, and we'll kind of understand what the situation is to be able to help you there. But we found once we go down that road, now it takes away the value to you, the partner. And to us at Quest, we're looking for something that works for all parties, and this is our view of the world. Once you go down there, it's really hard to differentiate. Now you're looking at data sheet versus data sheet versus the underlying value that we can bring and help one with that service. So we do have, it is underpinned by technology, and the secret sauce and customization that we put on top of it would really be that value add. So how is that to evade that question, Adam?
Good to go. Yep.
And Adam, maybe talk a little bit about the conversations too. I think I can bring it up. A lot of the questions that are here on the sheet, these are great sales conversations. You don't have to be the stalking horse to know everything about everything. And any one of those questions, hey, I have a customer who has a question about this or that. Just call us up, Adam or I or people from our team. If we need a subject matter expert, happy to hop in. We call them conversations. We do them all the time. And just it's kind of that discovery, that sales call, meet and greet. What are you trying to do? You don't need to be the expert in all these topics here. We would love to hear what's of interest to the customer and help you out there.
Yep. And then so how to engage? If a lot of guys and a lot of partners on here good to go. We have partners@questsys.com. You have your assigned channel manager. If you don't know who that is or need to get that set up, please reach out anytime. We'll make sure you get covered. Please check out the partner portal. We got great content here. We do like a weekly podcast with guests and kind of different folks in the industry, and myself and Paul Burke will kind of go through what's happening. So check that out on the partner portal as well. And then again, the boot camps. We also have the opportunity registration forms, right? So simple opportunity registration. We do conduct a kind of quick qualification with you guys, check out background, conversation, discussion, and then conduct the customer call or any type of putting together quotes or contracts or things like that. One thing that's done really, really well, and if you ever have a need for it or you want to set one up, capability review conversations kind of into that discussion on underlying technology and what vendors do you have skill sets with, and hey, is this a Microsoft or a Cisco or a VMware or a SentinelOne or Cylance or Carbon Black or CrowdStrike or Tanium or whatever. There's tons of building blocks that come underneath our service offerings, and like Gary said, we sell all that stuff all day long. Been a VAR for 42 years. We don't have anything proprietary. We grab those vendors out there, the Ciscos, the Taniums, the Carbon Blacks, the CrowdStrikes, Cylance, we build that stuff underneath, and then we deliver that as a service provider. And happy to have those conversations with you guys, regardless of the technology stack. The capability review meetings are fantastic, both for you and or directly with your customers to kind of go through that. And then always want to make sure everyone knows ir@questsys.com. This doesn't have to be security related. It can be emergency services related. It doesn't always have to be, hey, this isn't a ransomware or a breach, I shouldn't call ir@questsys.com. If your client has an emergency and they need emergency support, we can classify that as an incident. We can get on the phone and help them out. I don't know if they could be getting held ransom. They could have someone, a key employee that, shut down their back-end SQL server and is encrypting it and not giving them the password. It can be any type of emergency. It can be a major outage, a fiber cut, and you guys need physical infrastructure deployed to a location in, Poughkeepsie or in somewhere in the middle of nowhere. We can do that from an emergency standpoint. So if you ever need emergency help, ir@questsys.com. It can be escalated there. This is our partner support team, right? So we got Gary and myself on the call here. A lot of Mr. Purdue. Anyone who's going through our partner support or our registration process knows Mr. Dave Knoll on the team. Got some of our technical pre-sales teams here, our registration form. So we're excited about this program and building it out and continuing to grow it. So this is a little bit of the escalation support team. I want to again thank everyone for being here. We got the thank you e-gift cards going out to everyone who's made it through, and appreciate your support. And again, we built a boot camp because of feedback from some partners that, hey, we're really smart to do X, Y, and Z. This could really help my business. We want to continue that. So any feedback that you have, we love feedback from partners and value that a lot. So I don't know, Gary, if there's anything else, or I think I saw a couple chats spark in while I was going through the final couple slides there. Anything else we need to address for the forum team here?
I think you got it, Adam. We'll let everybody, it was the top of the hour here, and thank you so very much for your attendance and your input. We value you greatly, and we'll look forward to continued engagement and your success. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.